Hey, welcome back into another segment of Mindset Monday with me, Matt. These are episodes where I share with you the lessons that I've learned over the last nearly 13 years of getting sober and staying that way, rebuilding my marriage, rebuilding trust in that relationship, becoming a better father, becoming a better husband, becoming a better man. It's in these episodes that I share with you, I think, are the most important parts of this. Getting sober is one thing, but really becoming a better person is an entirely different thing. And just stopping a substance will not accomplish that. It's my hope that in these episodes, I can impart on you some of the most important lessons that I wish I would have known back then when I started that will hopefully jumpstart your journey today. Or if you're a spouse or a partner, just trying to understand maybe a bit about what's going on between the ears of the person in your life that's struggling with a substance or behavioral addiction, an addiction of some kind. Listen, I'm not your partner or spouse. I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm not really anything. I'm just a guy that's been there before, who's been around this for a really long time. And in fact, I'm obsessed with recovery in all forms and how to be better. That's what drives me every single day. So I think I know enough to help you through this as well, partner or spouse that's listening. And thanks for being here. It's been a little while. I feel a little rusty sitting here in front of the camera. It's been like a month or so. And thank you all so much for your patience with us. We talked about this a couple of months ago that we were going through a season in life with our children, especially this time of the year in the spring when it would just get hectic and crazy. I think the last episode I recorded, I talked to you a bit about my priorities in life, like priority meaning prior to, meaning more important than anything. Number one is my recovery and my spirituality. Number two is my family. And then three is the work that I do on any given day. First two are the most important. When life gets really, really crazy because of number three, I really have to double down and just really get in the driver's seat of one and two. And that's what I've been doing here lately. Life's been insane, hectic, learned tons of lessons that I can't wait to share with you guys. But thank you. Thank you so much for being patient with us. I know that a lot of you kind of depend on this as part of your own recovery journey, whatever that might be. Or listen, I'm a podcast listener too, so I know it sucks whenever your favorite show doesn't release something. Like I get it, I understand. So thanks for being patient with us, and thank you so much for being here this week, listening in. We've got an interesting episode today, covering something I rarely ever talk about. I think Paige and I have only talked about this one time. We're gonna talk about sex today, physical intimacy. I think for a lot of people, this becomes a really sore subject. When I say a lot of people, I know a lot of guys who are going through a recovery journey. For a lot of guys, sex becomes like the one and only way that you truly feel seen or validated or connected to your partner. But when you're going through recovery or you're in active addiction, it's probably not happening because there's a lot of prerequisites that sex requires, in my opinion, that aren't happening. There's no emotional safety. There's no trust. There is no emotional connection. Likely your partner's picking up a lot of slack and they feel like they're being taken advantage of or they feel burdened, whatever it might be. And it causes a lot of problems in the relationship. Over the last few weeks, we've gotten a lot of DMs and a lot of emails. And thank you so much. Keep those coming. A quick side here. I can't thank you guys enough for trusting us with some of the questions that you send us. Some of the most intimate parts of your lives you guys share with us, and that means everything. That means that you trust us and you know that we're real and we listen and we've been there before more than anything, that we're like you guys. And so thank you for that, truly. It's also great ideas for content, and we will always honor your anonymity and not share with anyone about who wrote it or where it came from or anything else. But thank you. This is a question that I got several times here over the last few weeks. I don't know what it is, what's going on, but it seems like this one's coming up a lot. So I think it's worth talking about, especially because it's something I rarely ever talk about. It's always kind of been a weird subject for me. And I think it's because I don't connect with a lot of guys in the typical way that they view this. But I know a lot of guys do. And so if you're a guy listening, I will do my best to kind of bring you into my corner of the room and how I look at this. And I think that I've had a really healthy relationship with my wife for a very long time. Sex life has always been a result of a really good connection. I've never looked at it as a priority in our relationship. When I worry about the most important things, it's just an afterthought. It just happens on its own. And my hope is that it becomes that way for you too. Because if sex is the only way that you know how to connect, it can be really problematic whenever life gets busy or life gets tough. Sex should be an extension of connection, not a substitute for it. So, we're going to talk today about why so many men treat sex as the only form of connection or reassurance or intimacy in a relationship. We'll talk about some of the biological and social differences in the way that men and women view sex. We'll talk about some of the toxic ways that sex can be used as a bargaining chip in relationships that are affected by addiction, and why nobody owes anybody access to their body in exchange for good behavior or sobriety or just being a decent human. So, finally, I want to talk to you about what I think healthy intimacy actually looks like. And again, why sex is generally an extension of that connection, not a substitute for a real connection. So if this has been a fight in your relationship for a long time, or it's something that's a real sore spot and you two just don't see eye to eye, listen in, you're in the right place. I hope we're going to have a good conversation about this today. First on, I just, again, want to thank you all I know that I've been absent from the show for quite some time. Paige and I should be back to somewhat of a normal routine here pretty soon as things slow down and we start to get our weeknights back. It's been nuts. Like every night of the week, there's something that lasts long into the night. Like we don't get home until 10 or 11 o'clock at night, a lot of nights in the weeknights. Like it's just insanity right now. And we used to record late at night and that's what we did. And we'd release episodes, but it's been hectic. Work has been hectic. I work in logistics and that industry is changing a lot right now. It's getting crazy. And so there's just not a lot of time for this. So truly thank you guys for sticking with us. It's kind of scary for me. I thrive on consistency. Like that's something that I always feel like we worked really hard to build an audience that connects with us and like our people, our tribe. And I feel like we're going to lose people in a couple of weeks just because, social media and content it's so attention driven. And if you stop creating content, then people just forget about you. And I didn't want to undo all the hard work that we've done. But again, priorities are priorities. And that is my family and that is my sobriety. I'll talk just briefly for a moment about the importance of prioritizing yourself and the things that are most important to you when life gets crazy and chaotic. For me, it's my recovery. And it's my recovery and it always will be my recovery because without my recovery, nothing else in my life even matters because I'm going to lose it all, right? I won't have a family. I won't have a job. I won't have a show or an audience or any of this stuff because I will do what I do when I'm in addiction and I just don't give a shit about anything. I fall off the rails and I become selfish and self-centered. And so recovery can be really tough to prioritize at times, but it has to be the most important thing in your life. So briefly, I'll share with you how I've been doing that over the last month or so. I haven't been able to get to as many meetings as I would normally like to because the evenings are eaten up and the days are too. So I do prioritize my recovery in different ways. I have a phone, and on that phone, I have a lot of people who are in recovery. I talk to them on a regular basis, whether that's group chats or picking up the phone. On Friday, I called a friend who's in recovery. We talked recovery for like half an hour. And I felt, okay, I feel connected again to my recovery community and the things that got me sober. Outside of that, I've talked a bit about my spiritual connection and how important that is for my recovery. In the mornings, every single morning, I take time and I carve out a bit of time for meditation and prayer and reading. I still read the same passages that I was given when I was in treatment. I was given pages 86 through 88 in AA's big book, and I still read those. On awakening and when we retire at night. Those two things are incredibly important. It's like a nightly inventory to look at the day and the quality of my day and what kind of person was I that day. And if I need to make corrections, then I make corrections. If I owe someone an apology, then I make it right then and there. That person gets a message or a phone call that night. But in the mornings, it really helps set me up for my day, a day of living in acceptance, living as part of the world, not the center of it, and how I react to things. I'm coaching a boys baseball team, young boys, 12-year-olds. And if you've ever been around sixth grade boys, it can take a lot out of you. Teachers, if you're out there, you're listening and that's your age group, God bless you, man. They are a handful. I love them to death, but they'll wear you out from time to time, man. The immaturity is hilarious at times, but at other times when you're trying to be serious, it gets rough, right? So I am by nature pretty short-tempered person. My recovery really grounds me and helps me be the best version of me. So I find different ways to prioritize that. I read things. Hazelden has a thought for the day that I read every single morning, along with another one called Touchstones. which is like recovery for men. That's really helpful. These are just some ideas for you guys as you're probably living an equally hectic life in some ways, ways that you can really prioritize yourself. If you're someone like me, you're trying to stay sober, and not just sober, but you're trying to remain grounded to your values. This is how I do it when life gets crazy. If you're a spouse or partner, you might be wondering, well, what about me? Like, what do I have? Well, that's why I'm segueing here. We have a community. If you go to our website, twfo.com, you can find out about our free Facebook community. Inside of that community, you can connect with thousands of other listeners of our show, people who are going through the same things that you are. If they're not going through it right now, then they have been through it before. They're on the other side of it. And everyone is there willing and open to share their experiences and be helpful and connect. It is the greatest thing in the world. In my opinion, it's like the most wholesome place on the internet. Not because of the content necessarily, just because of the goodness that's in people's hearts as they're willingly, just freely giving their time to other people. People exchange phone numbers. They fly across the world and across the country to meet with each other, and they get together for coffee. It's a really lonely life at times. And you can be a parent who's doing it all yourself, and you've got kids and everything. And at the end of the day, you feel like you have spent no time invested in your own recovery. Our community is a way that you can get access to that 24/7. Someone's always awake in there. And if you need more than just reading posts and feeling validated or sharing what's going on in your life, and maybe just a venting or getting feedback or experience, we have community calls through all hours of the day, several times a week, led by our amazing leaders in our community who are hosting these free Zoom calls, totally free, guys. You don't have to have your camera on or anything. You can post anonymously. You can show up however you want. But it's a great place where people can just truly feel seen. We don't have a ton of rigid rules around things like crosstalk. In fact, I think it's a really beneficial thing to have crosstalk because likely someone in that meeting has been through the very same thing and they can share what they did. You don't necessarily have to do the same thing they did, but it can spur really great conversations and ideas and get people talking about what they can do to protect themselves in situations. Maybe you're going through divorce or separation and what that's like. And that's a special kind of lonely that only people who have been there can truly understand. Your friends, your family, your community, and your real world may not understand, but wheelies freaking get it. So the community is there. It's at your disposal. Use it, guys. It's an amazing resource for spouses and partners. I've long thought about starting my own community for guys that are going through this. And really, it's just like a recovery community and how we strengthen one another and hold each other accountable and be better. I just don't have the time for it right now, but I really do want to do something like that too. In the meantime, we have these episodes and we have social media accounts. You guys can shoot us DMs. We may not always reply, but I do see a ton of them. We've also got an email address, info@twfocouple.com. You can reach out there. May not specifically respond to you, but if it's something that I think I can be helpful and beneficial to, I will respond. Like, we're still small enough to where we engage with our audience on a regular basis. Like, we love you guys. And we started this with the true goal of just wanting to be helpful for other people and wanting to share our experience to be helpful for other people. Helping people avoid the same pitfalls that we've fallen into, things we wish we would have known. And we mean that truly. Just reach out. And if I'm available, if Paige is available, we will get back to you. Sometimes you even get an episode made out of them, which is what this episode's about. We had someone write in, like I said, several people actually, who seem to be going through this issue in their relationships where physical intimacy has become a really sore spot for the couple. And that this episode came as a result of several emails. So thank you guys for that. You can reach out, trying to be helpful any way that we can. I feel like I am a servant at heart. If everyone's got a purpose on this planet, mine is to help other people, to be a servant to other people. That truly is what I think my purpose is in life. That's what makes me feel like I'm connected to the world. That's when I'm feeling most useful. This is what I love to do, truly. And it's been tough not being able to do it as much, but again, priorities are priorities. There would be a day and a time when the house is super quiet and we'll have nothing going on and there'll be plenty of time for content. But I don't want to look back and regret the time that I could have spent with my kids and my family because there was too much content to make. So not that we don't love you guys, it's just priorities. And I would expect you guys to do the very same. So couple things out of the way really quickly. I mentioned our website, twfo.com. On our website, you can also, if you want to support the show, we've got merch. We think it's cool, but check it out. I've got a shirt on right now, Till the Wheels Fall Off shirt. We've got several different shirts. We've got sweatshirts for those of you that are still in cold weather climates. I'm sorry. We are down here in the South and it's nice and warm. It's wonderful. So it's t-shirt season for us. But for some of you, it may still be beanie or toque season or sweater season, and we've got you covered. Go to our website, check those out. We've also got water bottles. We've got stickers. We've got all kinds of stuff, ways that you can support the show. If you want to support the show and you don't want merch, you just want to help out, we really appreciate that too. If you go to the link in our bio on any of our social media profiles, you can buy us a cup of coffee, and that stuff goes right back into the show. It contributes to computers, subscriptions, editing, lights, cameras, you name it, all of that stuff that makes the show go around. And thank you so much to those of you that do that. Like I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm so humbled every time we get an email that someone has gifted us something. It's like, thank you, like, so much. I cannot thank you guys enough. I know how hard you all work because we work the same, and that you're willing to contribute to the show just means everything to us. Like, really, it's amazing. I'm lost for words. I just want you to know that with love from the bottom of our hearts, we really appreciate it. We don't pay ourselves from the show. Not yet. I mean, someday we'd love to be able to do this full time, but for now, it really is just, let's keep this thing going. Let's help as many people as we possibly can. And it's always been my theory that you give as much as you possibly can away for free, and good things happen in life. And so we try to do that. We do have some paid content as well. We have a course that we built alongside a licensed therapist, Dr. Christopher Taylor, called Reclaiming You, special built for spouses and partners. Many people report feeling like they just don't know who they are. Like, at one time in my life, I felt sure of who I was. I was sure in my values and what I stood for in my relationship. But through addiction, through the chaos of all that, I've bent on everything. And what's left afterward is I don't know who the hell I am. And when I say afterward, I don't mean that the relationship has ended. I mean, just at the end of it, you look in the mirror and you don't recognize that person. Paige felt the exact same way. And Reclaiming You is our course where we truly help you reclaim who you are, help you rediscover your values and what boundaries ought to be in place in your life to protect those values, what self-care and self-prioritization actually looks like, what it means to be a villain in someone else's story and be okay with that, just being true to who you are, living by your values, and doing that alongside other people, because there is an additional community part of this. We have community calls on Wednesday evenings. We're still offering them for the time being. I don't know if they'll be going forever, but they're going on right now. And so Paige and me, or Paige or me, are generally in those meetings along with hundreds of other people, wheelies, who are reclaiming their lives. And it's an amazing meeting. These are growth-oriented topics most of the time. We're talking about stuff in the course, but outside of the course as well. Really awesome topics about how to reclaim yourself and how to stand up for yourself, how to advocate for yourself, how to put in boundaries in your life, how to maybe reconnect in a relationship. You know, at some point in a relationship, let's say you're rebuilding, there does come a point where you have to give them the chance to trust again. They've done everything they possibly could, and you have to learn what it is to offer trust again. You name it, these topics are part of it. Find out more by going to reclaiming-you.com if that sounds like something you're into. And lastly, maybe most importantly, thank you to Soberlink. Soberlink's a sponsor of our show, and they have been for quite a while. If you're someone like me and you struggle with alcohol, it's really, really tough whenever you're hiding it and you're lying and it becomes a central sore spot in the relationship. You think your spouse is mad about the drinking, but it's about much more than that. It's about the lies. It's about the lack of accountability. It's the distrust that breeds from all the hiding and the sneaking and everything else. And so when you finally get ready to come clean and really do the deal, it's really tough to rebuild that trust, because trust is lost in buckets. It's rebuilt in tiny little droplets. Soberlink is a way that you can expedite that process. It's a visibility tool. It's an accountability tool. It is a breathalyzer, but it's so much more than that. You sign up a network of people who get notified every single time you use it. When your words can't necessarily reestablish trust, let your actions and the device's reports do that for you. People get notified every time you do it. And so on one hand, it keeps you accountable because you know that you can't go sneak off and run to a bar or hide a bottle in your truck or whatever it might be, because you're going to have to use that device later on. It will keep you away from the substance to some degree, right? But on the other side of that is support. The other side of that coin of people watching you is the support that comes with it. Even if you're struggling, letting people in is everything. Being vulnerable. Soberlink's a tool to help you do that. If you're struggling, they're going to see that. And for people that are really in your corner and they're pulling for you, that put their arm around you. Dude, we got your back. I know it's tough right now. What can we do to support you? What can we do to help? Or if you're really doing the deal, having people just simply be proud of you for something for the first time in forever. Like, dude, I saw you've been going at this 90 days. Like, I'm so proud of you. That's amazing. Keep going, dude. It feels good. It feels really good. Soberlink's a tool that can help you do that. For spouses and partners, though, I think this is a massively important tool. And that's why it's part of our show. When you feel like you don't know the difference between a lie and the truth anymore, Soberlink can give you that. If it's time to trust someone again, Soberlink will help reassure you that, yeah, they're doing the deal. You can start to trust them again. But if they're not, it can help you make decisions along that line too. I cannot trust them. They're still lying, and I've got the results here. I've got to make decisions for me to keep me and myself and our children safe, right? And when it comes to children, this is a serious conversation. Many people stay in toxic and abusive relationships because they think they can keep a better eye on their kids when they're around them than when they're not. And they stay in those sometimes violent situations because of that. But what if there was a way to know that your children were at least around someone who is sober? Soberlink is there for you too. They are court admissible in all 50 states and in Canada, and you can get these things written into your custody agreements. So whenever you want to have a night where you just want to detach from the world, watch some Netflix and eat pizza, but you also want to know your children are safe, Soberlink has your back. If this sounds like something you might be into, go to soberlink.com/wheels and check out our link. No more upfront costs on these things. You can rent them now for as little as $19 a month when you sign up for a 1-year plan. And there is a plan. There's a cost associated with the plan. But Soberlink is here to help you with that. Since you're an awesome listener of our show, just use our link. You have to use our link, soberlink.com/wheels. They will send you a $100 gift card. You can apply toward anything. You can help it offset the monthly plan cost. You can buy you can pay for your bills, whatever it might be, or Amazon stuff, or Tufo merch, or whatever your heart desires. Soberlink's got your back with that $100. They're an amazing sponsor of our show. So this sounds like something that you might be into. Support the companies that support our show. Check out Soberlink today. All right, let's get this thing going. This is I always feel weird talking about this topic. I think kind of an awkward one for me. Frankly, I'll just be honest. I've never really struggled. Like, I know a lot of other guys struggle with physical intimacy in a relationship. And it's not because it's not because I have endless amounts of it. It's just, I've always looked at it differently, I think. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if that is a product of my upbringing or if that is just a product of living in a relationship with an incredibly emotionally attuned and aware wife. If that's part of that, I don't know. We've just always operated this way, but I know it is a massive problem for a lot of people. So I want to acknowledge that and say simply, if you're having this problem, I don't think anything's broken, right? I think some things need to be retooled. Some things need to be looked at from a different angle, but I don't think you're wrong for feeling like you connect through physical intimacy. I know it's true for a lot of people, and I cannot sit here and say that you're all wrong for feeling that way. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel, right? My goal by the end of this is, if you're a guy listening, that we kind of expand that conversation and I help you understand maybe where your wife's coming from or your spouse, partner, whoever is coming from. That's my goal. And I know that men aren't the only ones on the other side of this conversation. I'm going to speak in generalities here, or else I'd be spending the entire episode trying to qualify everything. This is just the typical message that I get from guys and girls alike. I've worked with many, many, many men in recovery, and this is a common thread that comes up a lot, right? So I want to preface all this by saying I am not a licensed therapist. I am not a certified anything. I am not a sex counselor or anything else. And this should not be a replacement for professional help in this area. What this is, though, is I think a really common sense approach from someone who's been there before and truly understands where both sides are coming from. I'm kind of in the middle looking at both sides saying, okay, I understand where you're coming from and I understand where you're coming from. My goal is to bridge the two. And at the end, you can both understand each other maybe a bit better. But I think it's probably going to piss someone off, and I'm okay with that. Totally fine with that. If I'm not pissing people off, I'm probably not being honest enough. So I don't mean to piss anyone off, but I think these things probably need to be said. But I just know that there are a lot of men that only know how to connect through sex. They don't know how to ask for reassurance or for affection or for closeness or for comfort or emotional connection in any other way. And that does not make you a bad person. But it does become a serious problem when sex becomes the only way that you know how to feel loved. I'm going to read a question that spurred this entire episode. And I will obviously, anytime you guys send me questions, these are anonymous. This could have, in fact, I will just be honest with you. This is actually a conglomeration of like several emails so that there are no identifiable markers from anyone. That's generally what I do. I'm not an idiot. I know that when things get vicious in a relationship, maybe you're going through a separation or divorce, people are going to look for anything to try to throw it back at you. Okay. Well, you're never going to get that ammunition from me because I'm smarter than that, because I know your type. So, gotcha. But anyway, this is someone who's been going through a separation and they're in a relationship with someone who looks at sex as the way that they connect. There has not been much physical intimacy happening in this relationship, though, for the better part of a year, sometimes more than that for people. Sometimes it's been ages since they've been physically intimate. They're sleeping in other rooms. Maybe they've just been physically separated for that long. But there are many men that will use sex as a bargaining chip. I will get clean if you start doing this. I will take a drug test if you do this. That one is so common. It happens more than you would ever think. People are flat out refusing to walk the path of sobriety or becoming a better person unless they are guaranteed access to someone else's body. This is very common. So that's what spurred this conversation. This is not going to be an episode. We've talked about a bit about sex addiction. We've talked about betrayal trauma and things like that. I'm going to get Dr. Porter on again before too long. He's got a new book coming out. I want to talk about the latest findings in sex addiction and all those types of behaviors. Really interesting to me from an addiction and brain science standpoint. But sexual coercion and sexual abuse is a very common thing that happens in people's marriages, and they may not even realize it. Because I think maybe if you're old fashioned, you might think that that's part of the deal. When you sign up to be married, that is just part of the deal, is that person gets access to you in that way. For some people in rather controlling or abusive relationships, they may not think they even have a choice in the matter, right? So it becomes more of an obligation or a duty in some ways. And a lot of men will take advantage of that. And it is a power imbalance. It is abuse, simply abuse. I'm not going to paint it any other way. That is not okay. All right. So if you're going through this, I would encourage you to seek out the resources that you need to get out of that situation that can be dangerous. Interpartner violence is very common in these types of situations as well. So guys, exercise caution and be careful. But I do want to talk about the dynamic that exists when people use sex as a bargaining chip. And thank you for your questions, by the way. Again, it means everything to us that you guys trust us with these kinds of questions. And these aren't the only kinds of questions we get. This just seemed to be a common thread here lately, but thank you. If you don't ever want us to use your question for content, just say so, because generally when I'm reading these things, you're not the only one that has them. So I think it can make a good episode. It typically will be, because if you have the question, someone else usually does too. But let's talk about the ways that men and women experience sex, just in general, differently. I think that I am not off base by saying men and women look at sex differently. Is that fair? I think that's fair, right? I think for many men experience sex as reassurance and validation and stress relief and emotional closeness and feeling wanted, feeling like they are enough, and feeling like the relationship is okay. And I think that women experience sex as something that comes after feeling emotionally safe and feeling respected and feeling emotionally connected and feeling seen and feeling like they're not carrying the mental weight of everything that's going on, the emotional burden, or all of the chaos that may be happening in your lives alone. This is where things get the most messed up. I think I'm pretty safe in saying this, is that men think that if we have sex that we're good, and women think that if we're good, then I want sex. And you see how that could be problematic when there's something like addiction happening, because you're not good, right? And so the guy's feeling like, I'm not enough, I'm not connected, I'm not wanted, whatever it might be. And it's not necessarily her saying that, he's feeling that way. But on the other side, she's feeling equally awful is that things aren't good in the relationship. To what's important to her is that we are connected, that we're a team, that we're fighting life together. It's a sex for women, I would say, is a byproduct of that. And that's, I think, where I differ a lot with a lot of guys. I have never really looked at sex as anything that my wife ever owed me, certainly. We definitely have different sex drives, which I think is probably pretty common with men and women. I don't think I'm off base at all in saying that. Libido differences, right? But for me, anyway, I can say this. Yeah, I can say this with my whole chest, is that when I have shown up in our relationship and I have been emotionally safe and I have been someone who is fighting life with her, like we're partners in crime, and she doesn't have to beg me to do bare minimum things, I don't have to worry about our sex life. It just happens. It just happens, right? That's it. And I'm not going to sit here and say that every single time I've ever wanted to be intimate, we were intimate. That's not true. I don't think it's true for anybody in the world, but it's just never been a problem. What matters to me the most is that, like, my wife's my best friend. We are as close as two people can be. And man, we'll get into it a bit later, but at certain times in life gets hectic and crazy. And even when you are like really connected emotionally and like intimacy in your emotional connection, there's just no time in the day. You've got like little kids and you've got stuff, or you're traveling or whatever else. So if sex is the only vehicle you have as a guy to feel connected, this is going to cause problems. This is going to be problematic. Men think if we have sex, then we are good. Women think if we are good, then I want sex. You can see how this could be an issue if this is the only way that you feel like your relationship is okay, right? Because it's just not always going to be possible. So we have to broaden our idea of what it is to be truly connected. We're guys, we're going to learn how to be more vulnerable about this kind of thing, all right? I also think that men and women probably value different things when it comes to sex. I know for a lot of men, a lot of it's the physical thing, right? It's the physical touch and the closeness and the connection. Some of it's just the physical sensations. But I think for women, I think for a lot of men, I don't think I'm wrong in saying this, that physical connection means generally one thing, like our minds go to one thing. But I think for women, it's a lot more than that. It's like a gentle touch. It's cuddling. It's being just affectionate without being dirty about it. It's being pursued emotionally. It is feeling attractive outside of sex. It is being appreciated for who you are, not just what you physically provide. And I know that guys can understand that one, because I've heard from many men in recovery that I've worked with who have said, like let's say they're the sole breadwinner in the home. They feel like they're used. Like I am only wanted as a man for what I can provide. That's it. I'm just a piece of meat that brings home a check. I think that you can understand how that feels on the other side, right? So if you need help developing empathy, look at that the other way, where your wife could be feeling this way when it comes to physical intimacy. So you know how it feels. That's not a good feeling, right? You feel rather used. It's like, damn, am I really just deluded to that? That's what I am? Doesn't feel good. Does not feel good. And I don't think either side is wrong, but I do think that in this case, the women are more right. Because I'm a guy, like I felt all that too. I get it. I totally get it. But I think that it becomes a massive problem whenever I know so many guys that fail to understand this very simple truth about closeness. And so here's why I think so many men struggle to connect only through, or why so many men can only connect through sex, is because many, many guys were not taught how to be vulnerable. You were not taught to ask for affection. You were not taught to ask for reassurance. How to say, I miss you, or I don't feel close to you right now, or that I need comfort, or when your libido does pop up, how to handle that in an appropriate way without letting that overshadow some of the more important things in the relationship that it may be lacking. Some of the ingredients that are necessary in order for that to even take place between two people. Because if you think about like sexual conquest, right, at an evolutionary level, like what is that? It is you propagating your DNA, right? It is you winning the evolutionary battle toward ensuring that your genes live on. I don't think that all of this is completely out of us, even as civilized as we may seem at times. I think that there's still some part of that in us. And when that arises, I think it becomes really primitive for a lot of guys, and they don't see anything else. It's like, I have a need right now, as many guys put it. I have a need, and I can't look past it. I don't think it's too dissimilar than like what a drug craving is like, right? But like, you don't need it. Like, maybe you want it, but like, what's behind that craving, right? And it's not just biology. It's not just propagate. There is a proximal cause for this. And then there's what is the other one? Is it distal? Oh my God. I was just reading about this the other day. There's a real reason that we do things. And then there's a more immediate reason. The immediate reason is that it feels good. The real reason is that we're trying to, further our genes, whatever it might be. But for a lot of guys, they can only see, I just want to feel good. But I think it gets even deeper than that. Like, it's a lot of times I don't feel close. I don't feel like I belong in our relationship. I don't feel needed. I don't feel wanted or desired or whatever it might be. And you don't know how to say that, but you do know how to fix it. And that's by getting someone in bed. And I think it starts there. That's where the conversation ought to start. I think for a lot of guys is figuring out what's underneath that, right? I think that sex becomes almost a socially acceptable way for men to ask for a lot of those things, to ask for vulnerability and affection and assurance, and I love you and I miss you, and I feel inadequate right now, and I don't want to feel inadequate, and I want to feel close to you, and I want to feel desirable, and I want to feel handsome and good looking and whatever it might be. And you're insecure about these things, and rather than saying it, you know that if you get laid, you feel like all those needs are met. Let's start having the conversations. Let's just start having those conversations. I'm not trying to be like kumbaya foo-foo, but like, this is what emotional intimacy is, guys. This is the connection that you've been lacking in your relationship for all this time. So many men are starving, I think, for connection, but they only know one way to ask for it. You don't know how to ask for someone to, like, hey, I don't feel attracted to you or attractive to you. I don't think that you're really into me. Like, a compliment would be nice. Like, I like your shirt. You look good today. You smell nice, whatever it might be. Like, have those kinds of conversations, and it's vulnerable. I understand. Like, no one wants to feel like a loser. Like, I have to sit here and ask my wife to like compliment me, but have those kinds of conversations. Your wife is asking the same things from you. Like, it's already on the table. Just have it go both ways. I think that many men use sex to feel chosen, for some, it's a power dynamic. It is, I don't think that there's, like, when we talk about like sexual conquest, like, there's no, I guess in an evolutionary scale, there's no greater validation than someone being willing to sleep with you. And so I think for a lot of men, it feels like it's a power thing, probably. Feeling secure, feeling masculine, feeling like they matter. But if sex is the only tool in your toolbox for connection, your relationship is going to collapse under pressure at some point. It is going to collapse. It is not likely that it's possible all the time. It's just not, especially when you introduce the dynamics of addiction and betrayal and loss of trust and the chaos that all of that brings. Now, what are you going to do? Because now you've got someone who's deeply hurt by you, who feels completely detached from you. And if without the language of being able to connect in any other way than sleeping with someone, then what comes of that relationship, right? We've got to be able to communicate this stuff in different ways and connect in more ways than just sleeping with each other. Also, let's talk about some of the more practical reasons that people aren't, like, even like with me and Paige right now, like, our lives are just freaking crazy. Like, we don't even see each other sometimes until 10 o'clock at night. And like, we're going to bed, man. I got to get up at 6 or 7 in the morning. Like, it's like kids, stress, health issues, recovery, resentment, grief, hormonal changes as you age, exhaustion, betrayal. All this stuff is going to affect your sex life. It just will, right? So it is such a fragile mechanism to try and say, this is how I know that I'm good in my relationship. It is so fragile. It is not one that you should ever be using. Again, it should be almost like it should be confetti on top of everything. It cannot be the only thing that you need to feel like you belong in your relationship. That it just can't. But if your relationship falls apart every time the sex slows down, the problem is way bigger than just lack of sex. And that's where I think a lot of guys go super caveman on me. And they're like, we're not having sex. We need to have more sex. That's the solution to not having sex, is having more sex, without looking at the reasons that you may not be, right? Could it be because you've been lying to her for the last freaking decade, that you've been betraying her trust in a multitude of ways, that you've let her carry the burden of everything while you've been absent, that you're not an equal partner in that relationship or a participant in your lives together, that you never really ask or care about her inner world? That's the shit that matters. So the shortcut to just we're not having sex, let's have more of it, you're looking at a symptom, not the problem. Much like the addiction, you're looking at a symptom, not the problem. That shouldn't be like groundbreaking for anyone, but I think for a lot of guys, this really is like an aha kind of moment. I just don't think that we've ever really thought about it too hard, truly. But let's talk about when sex becomes a bargaining chip. This is when things get really abusive. This is when stuff gets nasty. This is when we cross the line, right? There will be moments in every healthy relationship where you may want to connect physically, but you're not able to, or there's something going on that needs to be solved before both people feel like that's really on the table. But when it becomes a bargaining chip, we have a serious problem. This is abuse, right? This is a power dynamic that exists between two people. This is you truly feeling like you are entitled to access to someone's body. Like, disgusting, absolutely flat disgusting. It is manipulative at best when you tie sex to your sobriety or drug tests or being nice or being respectful or helping around the house or good behavior, being faithful, whatever it might be. I've heard stuff that you wouldn't believe, right? I'll clean it up as much as I can, but I'll stay sober if you sleep with me. I will take a drug test if you sleep with me. That's a wife's duty, to sleep with her husband. I wouldn't be so angry all the time if you slept with me more. I'm only using because I feel rejected. Like, I wouldn't take drugs even if I didn't feel so rejected by you all the time. The way you look at me, whatever it might be. That's not intimacy. That's not even a discussion to have intimacy. That is manipulation. Like, that is emotional blackmail. That is ridiculous, man. That is, like, I need to just be clear here. Like, if you are in one of these situations, this is far past the point of we're having problems with physical intimacy in our relationship. You have an abuse problem in your relationship if this is what's going on. If you've got someone who's pouty or angry when they're not getting that part of you, like, this is far past the point of health. This is ridiculous. Nobody owes you access to their body because you behaved. Nobody owes you access to their body because you're sober today. That is never going to be a long-term recipe for change, ever. For a lot of people, when they get rid of a drug and alcohol problem, they develop a sex addiction. It's just one thing after another. Guys, you can use sex the same way that you use drugs and alcohol. It is just another form of something very tempting that alleviates temporary symptoms to make you feel like the world's okay. And that sounds eerily similar to drugs and alcohol. And many people use sex the same way, and they're not even realizing it. People in recovery do this a lot too. I've seen this more times than I can possibly count, where a lot of guys will get sober from a substance, whatever it might be, and then they develop a porn or sex addiction. It becomes the next thing. It's still the same problem. The symptom is just showing up differently, but the same problem exists. There's something going on in your inner world where you're unable to connect to people around you. You're lacking purpose. You're lacking self-esteem, and transparency. What's really going on is not there because it's being clouded by what you think is the problem, which is, I'm not having enough sex. The problem with sex is even maybe possibly worse than drugs or alcohol, is that it involves another human being, right? You're using another human being to get what you want. Drugs and alcohol, kind of you do, right? It's at the avenue, but the actual, like, the mechanism is you getting high comes from another person and them being vulnerable and them sharing the most, like, the most private parts of themselves, like, with you in a moment, and all you care about is how you feel. Like, that doesn't sound like drugs and alcohol or a problem that could develop. And I don't know what does, but That's how serious this is, like truly. This is like a child asking for a reward sticker every time they do something that they should already be doing. Like, I'll take the trash out, or I'll take the kids to their extracurricular if you can promise me tonight that we'll do XYZ, whatever it might be. And not even like joking about it, not even being playful about it, like being serious about it. This is abuse. This is abuse. Get to safety. That's all I can say. Get to safety. But being sober is not something that you do in exchange for sexual access. Being respectful is not something you do for sexual access. Being a decent partner is not supposed to be fucking transactional. Being a decent human should never be transactional. You should want to be a good human for the sake of being a good human. It's good for you. It's good for everyone else around you. It is packing goodness into the world. Be a good human to be a good human. It should never be tied to anything, ever, period. Just be a good human, man. Be a good human. Whether you're being paid or not paid, just be a good human. Sex is just sickening to think that there's a husband out there somewhere who is talking to his wife this way, telling her that he will only get sober and make her life somewhat normal so that she can feel safe again in her own home if she sleeps with him. I'm just like, I have no words. I have no words. But if your sobriety depends on whether or not someone's sleeping with you, you are not sober. You are holding your recovery hostage in some ways. It is not even going to be possible until you acknowledge this massive fucking problem looking you right in the face. If your ability to treat someone with respect depends whether or not they're sleeping with you, you don't love them. That is a control and abuse problem. That is a power problem. You have much bigger problems, my friend. Much bigger problems. Get to the root of where your sex issues are coming from. And I'll even say this, people knock on 12-step a lot, but they knew this back in the fucking 30s when they developed that program. There is an entire inventory that is related to sexual behavior, right? And it's written in the original text. Like, they understood this back then, that many people, when they graduated from the substances, would oftentimes move to sex. And so they want to take care of that in the beginning as well. Like, this is well known. This should not be news to you. This is going to be a problem. This is no way to connect at a real level with people, is whenever it's that transactional. And I know that there are a lot of men that feel rejected, and they feel like I don't feel like she cares about me at all. I don't feel like I am attractive. I don't feel like I'm wanted or desired or needed. I just need to remind you that that's not the only way that you can achieve those things. Like, my wife compliments me all of the time on the most basic stuff. Like the most basic stuff, like an interaction with our kids when one of them was struggling with homework or something like that. Like, I'll be getting ready for bed and she's just like, it's so attractive to me whenever you're a dad. And she just tells me that kind of stuff. And I say the same stuff to her. Like, there's nothing more attractive to me than whenever she takes charge in a project around here, like does something like that. I'm like, it's amazing. Like, competence is sexy, man. It is, I think, for everyone, right? Like, compliment each other in more ways than one. Like, you should be having conversations that go beyond just the physical piece of this thing. And I hope that you guys are. Like, maybe I'm just really lucky. I can come home on any given day and like be dressed for work, but she'll tell me like, you look really cute today. And I tell her, I notice when she gets like new clothing or she's done her hair differently. And like, I love it. And I let her know, I think it's adorable. Like, you look amazing today. Like, talk to each other, compliment one another. It comes in various forms. And my guess is that maybe your cup won't feel so empty where you feel like you have to go to that extreme to get physical intimacy just to feel that way. That's just, that's what I'm saying through all that, trying to be helpful in some way, is that you guys should be like having normal conversations with each other about what you appreciate about one another, what you do find attractive about the other. And I will say this too, like, as a guy, I know when I was going through addiction, I did not take care of myself. I didn't. I'm not sure if there was much that was really attractive about me. I wasn't taking care of myself physically in the slightest. Like, I was first really, really underweight, and then I got really, really overweight. That can be problematic in relationships where it's just like you're not as attracted to someone. But my experience is that in my life anyway, my wife's not shallow. She's loved me at every weight. I've loved her at every weight because it's about the quality of the character underneath that person that really, really, truly matters. But it does not hurt to take care of yourself. Your partner will probably be more attracted to you, and you will be more attracted to you. You will be more proud of the person that you see in the mirror. You will carry yourself differently. You will walk with swagger. You will like what you see in the mirror. It feels good to take care of yourself. Give it a shot, right? Most people, when they're stuck in active addiction, aren't taking care of themselves. They just aren't. And so what I'm saying in a maybe not so gentle way is that it's hard to find much attractive about someone when they're a slob and they're drunk all the time. It's really tough. Like, can you blame them for not wanting to crawl into bed with that smell and someone that's truly like just given up on themselves? Take pride in yourself, take care of yourself, whatever that means, grooming, hygiene, exercise, diet, all of that good stuff. It matters. It does matter to some extent, guys. It does, right? So while you're going through this, do yourselves a favor. And the benefits of all that are so much more far reaching than just what you might receive from someone else in the way of attention. It feels good to take care of yourself. It just feels good. It feels amazing to care for yourself once again. But I think why this is like this dynamic is so destructive for a lot of women is imagine how you would feel if you're a guy listening to this, like how used and objectified and pressured and guilted. The one that really breaks my heart is that you feel like you're responsible for someone else's recovery whenever you're using it as a bargaining chip, and you can't see that there's a problem with that. And as a spouse or partner having trouble putting into words why that is a problem. Your sobriety should never be contingent on me sleeping with you or anyone sleeping with you. It should be contingent on you wanting to be better for you. When your sobriety is contingent on other people or other things, it is fragile at best because people change, people come and go, situations change. What happens if you have to go on a 2-month-long work trip and you physically can't be around each other? You're just going to go back to using? That's what you're setting yourself up for when it's contingent on other people doing something for you. But think about how they must feel that their life is chaos right now, okay? Their life is falling apart. There are bills that are unpaid. Maybe you're not working. Their children do not have a present father in their lives. They don't have their best friend anymore. And what you're telling them is that they're responsible for that if they can spread their legs. You can fix all of this if you could just give me that. How fucked up is that? To put that on them when you know that that's not true. Even if you think it's true, I'm telling you it's not. So now that you know, stop acting like it is. It's not true. For being that responsible for someone else's emotional state, that you're that frail that you think that that's the only way that you can make sense of the world and your emotions is by them sleeping with you. What reasons have you given them to want to be intimate with you? You've lied, you've been abusive, you've been controlling, you withheld finances, whatever it might be. Why would someone want to be that way with you? But here you are, the thing that you know they want more than anything, which is a happy, healthy, sober version of you. You hold that over their heads. That's fucking sick. It's sick. I don't know another way to put it. It's just absolutely sick. But I also think that I've been privy to conversations that many men aren't. And it's an honor to be surrounded by so many amazing women. But part of that is that I'm privy to conversations that I know that a lot of men just never hear. And that is the conversations that do revolve around intimacy. And I'm always very respectful of these types of conversations. When they do take place, I generally try to recuse myself from those. But I do read posts and I see things. And so I've kind of gathered an understanding that a lot of men may not get. So I'll share with you guys what I've learned. But I know that women typically stop wanting to get intimate when they stop feeling safe. When they're no longer safe, that is off the table, completely off the table. So if that's off the table in your relationship, there's a likelihood that they don't feel safe. And I don't just mean physically, I mean emotionally. I think that I'm on board. I'm not off base saying that at all, that when women feel unsafe, that is off the table. It feels like an obligation at that point. It feels like something they have to perform, or like it's a pressure or like a job they have to do. It's something they have to do to keep the peace. And I want to know from you, guy listening, what what is the appeal in that? Like, what is the appeal? Even if you want the sensation, someone doing it against their will is disgusting. Like, we're borderline talking about like coercion and rape at this point. Like, that is disgusting. Like, if you truly mean it that you want to feel desired and wanted, wouldn't you want that to only be under the terms that like this is something that you both want to do, not something they feel like they have to do? Like, that's disgusting to me that you would even pressure them to that point, because what's the point in that? Like, they don't want to be there with you. It's horrible. It's horrible, man. It's very hard, I think, for women to want to be intimate with someone who makes them feel unsafe or unheard or pressured or invalidated or unseen. Simply that. I think for women, a prerequisite to that part of them is the safety and the emotional piece of all of this. And that is where so many guys fall short. It's hilarious. I always wanted to get in really good shape. Like, I wanted to have a six pack and like be chiseled up. And I thought in my head that when I achieved that physique, that Paige would not be able to keep her hands off of me. It would be like we'd be like teenagers. It was hilarious because I remember posting a picture of myself on my Instagram, like my personal Instagram. And I had my shirt off and I was like shredded. I had like 8% body fat, like six pack and all of that. I got so many DMs from guys and not a single one from girls. Paige thought it was cool for about 30 minutes and then she was over it. Guys, I'm telling you from experience, it is about so much more than you think it is. And it is actually easier because getting a six pack is way harder than it is to be a good person. It is so much harder to eat a calorie deficit for like so long that you're literally starving yourself to sub 10% body fat than it is to take the trash out, or to do things without being asked, or to be respectful or kind or loving. It is so much easier. That should be good news to you. But for guys, I don't know why we operate in this way. We think that that is what girls are after. We think that it's just the physical prowess. And maybe for some women that really matters. I shouldn't speak for everyone, but I think in general, I'm safe saying that the other stuff is much more important. It is just much more important. I think you should take care of yourself to some degree physically, but you don't have to be chiseled. Like, they don't care. They don't care like you think they do. They don't. From experience, they don't. In rare moments, do they think it's cool? It's really rare. And for as long as hard as you work at it, if that's the payoff you're looking for, you're going to be sorely disappointed, my friend. Sorely disappointed. And good thing, because I wanted to get chiseled, not just because of Paige. I thought that'd be an added bonus, but I wanted to, at some point in my life, just achieve what I thought was like peak physical form, so that way, when I'm an old man and I'm fat and I can't get out of the recliner because my back's so bad, at my funeral one day, there will be a slide on the slideshow of pictures that pops up of me shredded. My kids being like, man, my dad had it together at one point in his life. You know, I want them to remember me as like someone who had vitality at some point in their life. And I just wanted to do it for me. I grew up a heavy kid and I thought it'd be awesome to look like a G.I. Joe action figure. And I did it. But if you think that's what women want, you are sorely mistaken. They don't give a shit, dude. They don't. You'll get more attention from guys if that's what you're after, then go for it. But like, women don't care. There were so many guys that messaged me like, dude, how'd you get this ripped? You looked amazing. I'm like, this is the opposite. Like, no, dude, like the only girl that would message you about it would be like, hey, my brother wants to know what your exercise routine is, but they don't care. They don't give a damn. But I also want to talk about a vicious cycle that develops because of this dynamic. This is how the cycle goes. The man feels rejected, and so he pressures more, which makes her pull away more. He becomes more resentful. She becomes less interested. And then this continues, which makes you feel more rejected, which makes you pressure even more, which makes her pull away even more, which makes you even more angry and resentful and bitter, which makes her even more less interested. Don't you see how this can be problematic when we're using sex as the metric for being enough? You can't guilt people into wanting you. You can't exercise your way into it. It has to be earned the right way. And that's through being a good person and connecting with people and caring about what's going on in her life and treating her like a fucking human. It is not complicated, man. Underneath your wife, there's so much more than you think. Like I've been with my wife for 25 years and I feel like I'm just now touching the edges of who she really is. because you go through new experiences together. You look at old experiences differently as you take on new information, and you change perspectives about things. You learn new stuff, and like there's just always something to discover. And you're living next to someone, sleeping next to someone in the same bed, and my guess is you know so little about them. Discover what that is, and you will be connected, and you won't have to worry about this anymore. It will be a byproduct of just living the right kind of life, but that won't even be the reward. The reward will be in the connection that you have with this person. That's the real stuff in life. That's the stuff that really matters. The more pressure you apply, the less safe that she is going to feel, and the less desirable you become. That's the truth. So what does healthy intimacy actually look like? We've talked about it a bit. I've hinted at it, but it's much more than sex. I will say that. Much, much more. It is, there are so many different forms of intimacy. When people generally say intimacy, I know guys for sure, they mean physical intimacy, but there's emotional intimacy. There is physical affection. So just holding someone's hand, caressing them, scratching their back, putting your arm around them, rubbing their shoulders. There's intellectual intimacy, as you discuss different ideas and you ebb and flow different ideas, and you learn from someone and they learn from you, and you begin to truly appreciate the way that they see the world and the things that they take interest in. There's spiritual intimacy in a way that you guys can truly connect with God or a creator, whatever it is that you worship or that you believe in, and you develop a relationship together with that thing. That is a deep connection that people can have and share. There is just general playfulness. Me and Paige will sometimes have like there'll be like a foam ball around the house or something like that, and we'll like hide behind like these like pillars in the house, and we'll play like throw it at each other, and like we'll just mess around, like tickling, pranks, stuff like that. Like that stuff is fun. Like still messing with each other. Like that's fun. That is a form of intimacy. True partnership. There was a day recently. We've been so busy. We've fallen in kind of this routine where like we're just constantly running the kids back and forth to different things. Paige was running a Reclaiming You meeting one night, and I knew that our daughter was at dance. I was at a baseball practice with my son. I knew she got out of dance at like 8:30 or 9. And Paige would be on the Reclaiming You meeting till at least that time. So obviously I'm picking our daughter up and I'm picking up dinner, because how in the world would she be able to take care of any of this? And it didn't even have to be said. But it was funny because old habits die hard, right? She's used to me in a lot of ways back in the day being unreliable and just like brain dead. And so she called me in a freaking panic at like 9:15 as I'm picking up dinner with our daughter, because I picked her up from the dance studio. And she's like, "Do you have our kid?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh my God." I was just like so scared because I didn't tell you to do it. And I'm like, "Well, I'm not an idiot. Like, who the hell else would pick her up?" Like, this is partnership. This is what partnership is. And competence is freaking attractive. I mean, just tell you that on both sides, for both people, competence is attractive. Like that is a form of intimacy, trust intimacy. Shared experiences with people. Whenever you're just living life and doing things together. Remember when we went on that trip, we did that thing. There's so many more forms of intimacy. And so there are things that you can do. Like, okay, where do I start? I'm new at this. Just be present with one another. Stay off your phone. Be present. Or if you are on your phones, share memes back and forth to each other and laugh at them and tell each other why you think they're funny. Listen to one another. Listen, like actually listen to their day. Focus in, lock in, listen, ask questions. Get interested in their life and their inner world and the way that they see things. Their work drama, what's going on with their family or their mother or whatever it is. Like listen and share lives. And you do the same thing. Helping without being asked is one, I think, that really helps people connect because it builds trust and it lets them know that like you see me, like my problems are your problems and vice versa. Like you are truly fighting life with me whenever you do things without being asked. That means that you are in tune with their inner world and what they're battling on their to-do list at any given moment. And the same goes for you. Again, like I know that guys are always beating me up about this. Like, what about? Because why is this only one way? No, it goes both ways. Like in my relationship, it goes both ways. Like this is how fucking relationships work, man. It's two people doing this for each other over a long period of time. It's like, that should be a given. Like it's not one or the other. But flirting's another one too. Like flirting with each other. Like that doesn't get old. Laughing with one another. Physical affection without expectations. Paige can say, my shoulders hurt. That does not mean I want you seduce me and get me naked. It means like my shoulders hurt, dude. Like, could you scratch my back? Like, I just need some touch right now, but I'm not in the mood. Yeah, know the difference and begin to understand what that is. Making your partner feel emotionally safe. That's a huge one, that they can share things with you without you trying to fix them or tell them that what they're feeling is stupid or they shouldn't feel that way. Like being supportive of how they're feeling, knowing when to give advice and when to just sit there and be with them and struggle with them through something that they're going through. Being consistent is a big one. Being trustworthy. All of these things create intimacy. Talked about spiritual intimacy, the way that you experience God as you see God, whatever that might be. If it's going to church together or temple or a mosque or whatever it is that you guys do together to experience your creator. That is a form of intimacy that you two can share in. That's amazing. That is amazing. But the fastest way to kill intimacy is this expectation that every single hug or cuddle or look or kiss turns into a demand for physical intimacy, for sex. Like women, I don't think I'm off base saying this, women want to feel connected before they do that. They want to feel connected before, it's a prerequisite. But men want sex in order to feel connected. And that is like the cruel joke that nature plays on us. That's why we are so different. And that's why relationships take effort. Because you, woman, you feel like you need to feel connected to me before we will do that. But in order, for me, it's the opposite. I need to have sex in order to feel connected to you. I do think, okay, if we're going to talk about who's right, who's wrong here, I do think the women are more correct because I think that those things are more long lasting. You can put way more miles on a relationship without sex than you can put on a relationship just based on sex. That stands the test of time. That never goes out of style. There will be a day and time when you are 80 years old and it's not even a thought in your mind, but you can still laugh with somebody and you can still connect and you still have those needs as a person. Long after that part of you is kind of expired because nature just designed it that way. Healthy couples, I think, though, learn how to meet in the middle, right? Maybe you've got varying libidos. That's a different thing. Tough discussion to have with people. You don't need to have discussions about it, But I do think typically it ends up with men truly having to understand where she is coming from. I think that women generally understand where guys are coming from. It's kind of beat into them from the time that they're like puberty, like what we're after, right? They understand what we're after. They understand the why of it all. But if I as a guy, I cannot imagine like you not being in that moment with me for the right reasons. Like I don't want pity sex. Like that's disgusting. Like who would want that, right? That's slow. Let's build a real connection then. And that benefits everyone. That benefits your children. That benefits you guys. That benefits your home. And the byproduct of that is oftentimes sex. So like you win too. Like it's good for everyone. I think it's more important things that are underneath the umbrella of what women are usually after. Just my opinion on that. Call me wrong or crazy or whatever else. It's just the way I see it. But I think for my practical suggestions for guys would be like those things I talked about, like listening, connecting, hug her without grabbing her ass. Like I know it's tough. It's tempting, right? But every so often, just give her a big, long hug, man. Do your best. Compliment her without expecting something back. Like just say something kind, say something nice, say something. Doesn't even have to be about her appearance. In fact, try not to make it about her appearance. But listen without fixing. That's a tough one. I had to learn a long time ago. I'm so solutions-based. I'm pragmatic. I want to solve problems. And let's move on to the next one. Women a lot of times just want to be heard. They just want to know that you hear them and that you are listening. I've got a daughter who corrects even Paige about this all the time. She doesn't want solutions. She just wants to vent about what's going on in her life, man. She's smart. She'll figure it out. She just wants to talk. Just wants to talk. Just listen. Don't try to fix it. Just listen. I know that's maddening at times and it seems counterproductive, but I promise you, when they feel safe with you and they can just vent, they will then come to you and ask you for advice. I learned that that's the key to that. If you truly do want to help with the problem, they've got to trust you first, and they trust you once they know that you can listen. Help without being asked is like one of the biggest ones. I think that's a massive one, that people feel truly seen whenever you can do that. Spend time with each other without trying to turn everything into sex. Do that. Rebuild trust, like make an effort to rebuild trust. For a lot of people, an effort towards sobriety and becoming a better man, maturing is wildly attractive. Competence is very attractive. Being emotionally available and emotionally stable. Those are things that I think can also help a lot of guys that are struggling with this. But Learning how to connect in more than one way is the goal, after all, in all of this. Because if that's the only way that you connect, it is going to be problematic, especially if you're battling addiction and recovery. It is going to be problematic. And I'm not saying that your needs don't matter. I'm not saying that the way that you feel loved is wrong. I'm saying that you can get all that when you work on the important stuff underneath it, right? The availability, the vulnerability, the connection, all that stuff that you also need. You need it too. And you're remiss in thinking that you may not. Been my experience that when I focused on that stuff, the rest of it took care of itself. Like, you ever heard the saying, like, when you find what you truly want in life, like want to do in life, like money becomes far less important? That's kind of the way I look at relationships and sex. Like, like the money will come, dude. It will come. Like, you will have everything you need to take care of, like the things that you need and the things that you want, when you're not focused on it. Focus on the quality of the work that you put in every single day. And the byproduct of that is oftentimes going to be wealth, riches, all that stuff that money. I think relationships and sex work the same way. Focus on the things that are the most important, and that byproduct tends to be a result of it. You won't be a problem. Like, we've talked about this one of our workshops we did. I got the chance to talk to guys one-on-one. It was the coolest thing in the world, because I saw the lights go on for a lot of guys, like an aha moment where it's like, oh shit, this is what she's been trying to say to me for all this time. This has been my experience. When you focus on the things that are the most important to you as a character, an individual, and her and your family, the sex stuff takes care of itself. It doesn't become an argument anymore. It won't be. But that's just my opinion. I hope this has been helpful. I hope it's been validating for a lot of you. I hope it's helped you understand things a bit differently from both sides. But that's what I've got for this week. Hope to be back next week. It all depends. I can't make any promises right now, but I've really enjoyed sitting here with you guys, getting back into the flow of this, being helpful, doing what I truly love to do, and just be helpful. And I hope it's been helpful for you in some way, shape, or form. If not, catch the next one. No one can hit every time, right? But that's what I've got for this week. Until next time, I'm Matt, and I'll see you.